Hello everyone, Michael E. Parker here, and I want you all to know that we are on location and we have a powerful session for you today, and we are talking about the past, right? And how the past is over. And we're going to talk about some things related to that because this is something we can all relate to, because we're always dealing with things that come from the past impacting where we're going today. Now, I want to again remind you that there is no one here that is exempt from having something in the past that has affected them or affecting them. And the key is that we have to have a specific approach and understanding on how we begin to take control over our view of the past, our perspective of the past, right? What we allow the past to do. Well, I am out here on location and coming from the backyard again. I always like to mix it up a little bit on my episodes. And I want to welcome everyone. We're going to have a little bit of a different format here today. And I want to welcome everybody to have a wonderful Friday. It's so great out here, a great sunny day, and I hope many of you are enjoying that. And sometimes we have to remind ourselves to enjoy things, right? And it is this distinct habit of dwelling too much on the past that robs us of today, days like today, where we can think about the future, we can think about where we're going, we can think about enjoying things. So I want you to keep in mind that what we're talking about is very critical, because it has so much to do with how we feel and how we act and how we move every single day, because no matter where we are physically, it's where we are mentally that really begins to drive so much in our life today. So I want you all to really think about for a minute, when you consider how the brain works. Now, I want you to understand that the brain we have is a self-preserving brain. It is built to protect you. It is built to keep you safe. It is built to keep you comfortable. It is built to make sure that no one harms you. It is built to make sure you only do those things that will always protect you, right? And sometimes that can be a good thing, and sometimes that can be a dangerous thing. It depends on the circumstance. It depends on the situation. But to think about that all of us have inside of us this thing that is either working for us or against us, depending on how well we are in tune with the normal, natural thoughts that we get just being a human being. So I want you to keep that in mind. There's something there. I'm going to go to my whiteboard here for a minute, and just to remind everyone that I'm going to use this as the left and right brain here. And when we think about the brain, the fact that this is self-preserving, right? And we're always thinking about the fact that don't let anyone hurt you again, right? Now, in order to stay true, I shouldn't even say a question. This is an exclamation mark, right? So, in order to make sure we stay true to that, I must remember who or what hurt me, right? I have to, right? So to not let anyone hurt me again, if that's the way my brain is built for self-preservation, I have to remember who or what hurt me. And it is the remembrance of that, right, that then creates a situation of being stuck in the past. So automatically, if I'm trying to remember anything that hurt me, if I'm trying to remember anything that made me, that was unsafe, and my goal is to never, let anything like that hurt me again, then I'm going to stay stuck in this past, right? So this is one of the challenges we deal with, and I know all of us can relate to this. So this means we've got an equation that is already built to keep us focused on the past, to keep us focusing not on opportunity, but on the absence of pain. So remember that the brain, again, we've got all these other things, that are possible, like opportunity, right? Growth. But you got to understand, your brain is not thinking about those things by nature. It requires some sort of effort to get to press past the normal thoughts that you would have. So there is something that must be done, right? So I have to create some level of learning and exposure, right? An environment, right? To create a comfort in pursuing opportunity and growth. So until I learn more, get exposed to more, and get in an environment where I understand that opportunity and growth are okay, that it's not something that's going to hurt me, that it's okay to take a risk, that it's okay to do something maybe that I've not done before, until I get comfortable really, accepting that, then I'm wired to stop my own success. I am programmed to stop my own success. So I want you to think about that, right? Self-preserving, but also I want you to consider that this is another aspect of self-programming, right? So self-programming. So imagine, if I have a certain types of programming, there is no way to get an Apple computer to accept the programming of Microsoft, right? The things that is going to do in that Apple environment is not going to work, because the programming is not built for that, right? All these different examples of, if you look at a system that has, just the way that man has been able to create a computer that has, a programming that goes with it, and then, you begin to consider if there is software that is for a specific type of, computer or environment technologically, it'll only work in that environment, and it will not work in certain environments that are not built for that type of software, right? You ever get these little notifications? It's like, you got to have a software upgrade, and the software won't work anymore until you make those upgrades. There's certain drivers and things you have to have on your computer. Well, think about it. Sometimes if you don't install something into yourself to change what's driving you, you will not be able to accept new software that is all about taking you in a different direction to do something new, right? And software is really just, code that's telling a computer what it should do, right? Software is making new capabilities of what a computer can do because it has a language that is telling them that. And there's all these different types of software languages. And I don't mean to get so techie here for a minute, but I want you to see this, that, there's certain drivers that we need to install within ourselves. What are the things that drive us? Because if we're still being driven by the past, we're still being driven by things that hurt us, we're still being driven by fear, anxiety, and all the things that we're, concerned is going to, stop us and hurt us and not allow us to, or I should say, cause us to feel something we don't want to feel again, then we're going to always be in that place. And whenever someone tries to give you a new opportunity, new software, something that takes you further, something that educates you more, something that helps you grow, you're not going to be able to receive it because you have the wrong programming. You have the wrong mainframe, if you will. You don't have the right drivers, right? And there's no matter what someone tries to get you to do, you can't run that program. You're already programmed a certain way. So we have to think deeply about how we're letting those things affect us, right? How we're letting those things impact us. So I want you to really keep that in mind. Now, having said that, I want to walk through a few things. And if you're just coming here, I want to remind you, make sure that you like and you subscribe and you comment. We're very happy to have you on our YouTube channel here today at URCO. And we're talking about being able to not, allow the past to impact us in a way that causes us to fail. So again, the past is over. Stop allowing the past to impact you in the wrong way, right? Don't give it power. Stop giving power to the past, right? So I want to talk about a few things here now. I want to also talk about the power. Let's go back to our brain again, right? A very powerful thing about the brain is memories, right? And I want you to keep in mind, you notice inside of memories is the word memo, right? Memo. And we keep a memo of details about anything that we feel is a threat or danger. Right? Now, we also keep track of, happiness or pleasure as well. But did you know our brain is wired to give a higher importance? The brain says this is urgent, the things that are a threat or danger. So because by nature we're self-preserving, our brain is built to give more focus to things that could potentially hurt us, because it's something that actually, danger is more, powerful than the happiness we might have, got when we saw something we liked or had a great experience or an emotional experience. Danger is always going to override it. And that's why fear is a very powerful thing. And this is why, and one of the reasons is because of how the brain works, the type of memos that it's keeping. So I want you to see this on my whiteboard, that when these memories, depending on what type, begin to flood our brain, right? The memories is another way to, right, live in the past. So memories gives us this other way to live in the past. And we're going to talk about positive ways of doing that versus negative ways of doing that. So we want to be very conscious that we just can't live in a situation where we're keeping all these memos of the things that went wrong or the things that we're afraid of. And all we do is read those memos, right? We read them over and over and over again. We keep reading what happened to us when we were a child. We keep reading the people who did us wrong. We keep reading the same memo, right? It's like reading the same email over and over and over and over and over again until it's almost ingrained and you can tell the story without reading it. And this is what begins to happen. It becomes a part of our program, becomes a part of our makeup. And the next thing you know, there's some things that you cannot receive because you are not, and you don't possess the environment within you to receive new information that's different from what you've told yourself for so long. So this is, again, one of the things we've got to be aware of, and some of the dangers is something so powerful as the brain and the power of memory that can cause us to live in the past as well if we don't become intentional about how we let our memories affect us, right? You can't stop things from being stored. Our brain is so masterful. It's a storage center, right? So as you can see here on my whiteboard, it's a storage center, right? And we can store, so much information. Did you know your brain is so genius, there's almost nothing that you don't remember It's just some people are better at calling that information up. Something has to trigger it. So if you go to a particular area, or you go to something when you were a kid and you see something and then you start to remember it, well, that means it was always there. So isn't that deep? That means it was always there. It's just what triggered you to recall it. That's how our brain works. It's like, how can I recall it? How can I bring it back up? So some people are better at, recalling things. Some people even use that when they're trying to remember names, that they go to an event and they'll try to remember a name that they just learned and associate that name with something they're familiar with in their life, so that they can remember his name is Michael, her name is Sarah, his name is Nick, right? Whatever that name is, you try to associate it with something familiar to you, and you'll remember it more because you're creating triggers that are easier for you to remember. And these are people who are good at memory. But still, the key is, if we have too many triggers around our life that remind us of the bad things, we will remember those memories more. If we have more triggers that remind us of the good things, because we're keeping things around us that are related to where we want to go, and we start getting to the point where the things that we're doing that are good are reminding us of the things that are good, because we're keeping that good focus around us, and then we're doing more of those things, and then we're remembering how we did that before, because it's become a way of life to do those things that are good, that are forward thinking, that are taking us forward, that is moving us in the right direction. You want to get to the point where you got memories that you're creating of things that happened yesterday, last week, things that are happening last month, last year, things that you did successfully because you are in action and you're starting to take action toward things that are making you better. So this is extremely, extremely important. So let me give you another thing. I want you to understand this. Here's a powerful statement. You can't live in the present. Now, I know y'all say, uh-oh, what am I talking about now? And people will tell you, don't live in the past, live in the present, right? I want you to really think about this. As any of us stand here, you've got the past, okay? So hopefully y'all can see this here on my whiteboard. And we've got the future, okay? So I want you to think about something for a minute. Do you possess the ability to live in the present? I just want you to think about that. Can you? Do you have the capability to live in the present? So whatever time it is, right? Let's say if it was 2 p.m., you say, I'm gonna live. You say, you know what? I'm gonna live for 2 p.m. The minute you said that, you're not living in it anymore, right? It's 2 p.m. in 1 second, right? Because time is always moving. Well, because time is always moving, you can't live in the present. You don't have the ability, right? Maybe you're dealing with God outside of time, who everything is just now to God, right? Depending on your beliefs, but I believe there's a God that's outside of time. But unless you are that God, you can't live in the present, because time is always moving. So the past is constantly being created. It's constantly being created. And the future is not in your control. So in the future lies both risk and opportunity. Both trial and triumph is in the future. But the past is over, right? You can't change it. The past is over. The future has opportunity, right? So the past is permanent. The future is optional. Sometimes people say, well, this is what I'm going to do. Like you say, I'm planning to go here, tomorrow. Well, you can't guarantee that, right? Future is optional. And that's what's so powerful about it. It's fearful and beautiful at the same time, because I don't have to stay the same. That's an option. I can change. I can be better. I can have more money than I have, more success, right? But I also can have challenges and things. It's up to me in terms of what path I put myself on, right? I can't guarantee the outcome, but I can put myself on a path for a better outcome. If I'm, trying to get to a particular place and I go and get on the road toward that place, I'm better suited than if I got on a road to a different place expecting to get to the place that I want to go to, right? So it's very important to understand this, that the past is something that is always happening. It's always happening. So here's what we want to really do. Here's what we want to do. We don't want to live in the present. What we want to do, let me write that right. We want to seize the moment. Some of you heard me talk about carpe diem. We want to appreciate the past. Now, why is that important? Because we should look back in gratitude. If you learn how to appreciate the past and define the good from the past, because it always worked. Either it worked or it worked on you. And if it worked on you, then you're growing and you're expanding and you're learning, right? It's all how we view the past. If you learn to see the good in the past, if you learn to be thankful for the past, you're able to appreciate things that happened in the past and understand what it did for you. If you can look at it through those eyes, we're always appreciating the past, right? It's because I'm looking at it right. I don't care what it is. There's a way to appreciate the past, right? Because if you lived through it, if you survived it, then it made you stronger, better. It's going to teach you something. It's going to help you be able to help others, right? There's always something good that comes out of it. Here's the other key is we want to invest in the future, right? So investing in the future, this means that I can't control the future, but I can plant seeds, right? That's going to produce a future that is more successful for me. It's like someone who plants a bunch of seeds in a agricultural land. They can't guarantee how that harvest is going to come out, but they're going to have a much better chance than if they didn't plant those seeds, right? They didn't plant those seeds. It's guaranteed they won't have a crop. It's guaranteed there will be no harvest. It's guaranteed there will be no fruit. When you plant seeds, then it's something that is an investment. And so we have to be able to plant those seeds. And first we have to become a seed, right? We have to become the person that sees ourselves differently, right? And when we start to see ourselves differently, we can put new seeds out there because we've changed, right? Our words can be seeds. Our actions can be seeds. The people that we, allow in our life can be seeds. All these are seeds. And it's going to come back to you. You keep hanging around people that's not trying to go where you're trying to go, it's going to come back to you. You keep saying things that are negative all the time, talking about the past, talking about others, talking about why you can't, then that's going to produce something, right? So the way you think is a seed. All your thoughts are seeds. What is your mind on? What are you intentional about, right? All of this, these are seeds. So you have to think, are you investing in the future that you want? By the way you think, the words you're saying, who you're around, right? The actions you're taking, those are all different seeds, right? What are you planting, right? The past is over. What are you planting? What are you investing in, right? So this is, again, extremely, extremely important. So the last thing I want to leave with you is something I want you to do. I want you to see this on my whiteboard. I want you to press forward, right? Press forward. That means there's an effort, there's an energy. You got to rise above inertia and have enough energy to press forward, right? Another thing that we want to do, we want to act like your future self now. So act like your future self right now. See, you're not going to create the future that you want until you become the person that actually can create that future by the actions you're taking, the thoughts you're having, the people you're around. You've got to become that person now. You don't do the new thing to become the new thing. You become the new thing to do the new thing, right? So first you have to get in your mind that that's where I'm going. I got to act like that now. Will the money that I want, will I make it with the actions I have now, the behavior I have today, the mindset I have today? If that person that has that $1 million, that person that has that better promotion, that person that is at that particular weight and fitness level, what type of mindset would they have? And you got to get that mind now to get to that place. So you have to get that mindset now. Act like your future self right now. And that's what will create that future that you're looking for. Then let's go here to the next one. Stay focused on what matters, right? Stay focused on what matters. And one of the things that don't matter is something you failed at a year ago, last year, last month, last week, yesterday. It doesn't matter. Why? Because the past is permanent and it's done. The future is optional and has opportunity. So start to think about how to stay focused on what you can do next, what you can create next, right? This is very important. Stay focused on what matters. Get your mind off the things that don't matter. Get your mind off the things you can't change. Get your mind off all the things that you wish were different. And stay focused on the things that you can do and the things that matter. And then, lastly, remember, time is always moving. And because time is always moving, that means you can always have a rebirth. You can always renew, because every day is a new day to have a new you and a new approach and a new opportunity, a new way to be different, right? You've got a clean day every single day. Every second that passes, you have new choices, new opportunities, new options. And because of that, you do not have to live in the past, because time is always moving. You can't even live in the present, but you can always invest in the future, right? To be able to seize the moments in your life that matter to you. And so I hope you really see this, and I hope you can see what this spells out here. You all know I have a custom of that. This spells out past. And we want to change the past into something we're going to do to overcome the past by pressing forward, acting like our future self now, staying focused on what matters, and remembering the time is always moving, so I always have a chance to create something better. I hope you all enjoyed this episode again, and make sure, if you have not done already, like, subscribe, comment. If you know someone that needs to hear this, is living in the past, share this with them. And I would love to know in the comments, to come to this video and post some comments about if this was impactful for you, if you're watching this replay, and if this was impactful, if there's anything that you got out of this, if you got any encouragement to move forward in any way, tell me. I always read the comments. I would love. I want to thank all of you for tuning in to another episode. I am Michael E. Parker. Remember, the past is over, and as the CEOs of our life, it's time to build the future that we want on our terms by making the right investments in the